Hello, my YouTube friends. As I promised in my recent live stream, I'm gonna give you some tips on things you need to consider before you get on the road as a full-time or part-time RV or van lifer. So, here's some things that you might want to consider. Do you love being outdoors? You know, you're going to probably spend most of your time outdoors when you're living on the road. You're going to have to deal with the elements such as dust and wind and dirt and rain, sometimes hail and snow, cold and hot weather. You're also going to have to deal with different kinds of terrain or ground that you're going to be camping on. Sometimes it's rocky, sometimes it's muddy, sometimes the roads or areas are full of ruts. You're going to have to deal with making sure that you can travel those roads and park in those areas. You might have to consider where you're going to park. Are the elements very strong? Say the wind is blowing really strong. Do you have enough sun for the solar? So there are some things you have to consider because solar is energy when you're living like this. How do you cope with changes in your life? As an RVer or nomad, things are constantly changing. Everything, the weather, the environment, the people you're with, you know, different animals for the different areas or critters. So how you're going to cope with all the changes. You're going to have to eat differently, prepare foods differently than you would in a sticks and bricks. How are you going to finance your journey? Do you have a monthly income? Do you have a talent or gift that you can use to create work while you're on the road? Are you afraid to try new things, new foods, new places, new people, and new ways to do things? Can you be away from your family and friends for long periods of time? It may not be possible for you to travel hundreds of miles or even 1,000 miles to go visit a family member. What are your physical limitations? Do you use a wheelchair or a walker or a cane? Or do you have, say, some kind of a cast or neck brace or things like that that you have to deal with on a regular basis? Have you considered how you can get in and out of your rig? So usually they have a step or two. Do you have handles on the rig for the doors to get in and out? How high are the steps? I have been having a lot of trouble with my steps that are very high. So you have to consider those things when you have disabilities. Can you walk on different kinds of ground? Wheelchairs don't do really well in gravel and rocks, or especially sand. And a lot of times the ground, even if it has grass has ruts and stuff in it. So you definitely need to consider any physical limitations when you're thinking about doing a lot of traveling. Can you be in small spaces for sometimes days at a time when the weather is bad? What will you do inside your small rig to stay busy or keep from going stir crazy? Do you have to have daily showers and hair washing on a constant, regular basis? Do you realize how much water it takes to wash hair or take showers? So you're going to have to find ways to shower a lot more water conservatively because water is life out here on the road. And you do have to haul water. You usually places that you go, at least for off-grid living, you have to haul your water. In an RV park, it's a little easier. You have all the amenities like electric and water and places to dump and trash cans and things. But when you're off grid, you don't have all those things because everything has to be taken in and taken out. So, have you considered how often you would have to go to town to get water if you wanted to have showers every day? Do you need hookups? Do you need to be in an RV park or a state campground where there's hookups? Consider those things when you're thinking about traveling. And do you have solar? So if you don't have solar or a generator, perhaps, it would be very hard to camp off grid. So, are you prepared to move your entire rig every time you need to go to town to get supplies, dump trash, get water, dispose of waste, or shop? It's usually an all day process for me. What about the bathroom? Do you have to have a flushing toilet? In an RV, usually you do, but when you're camping off grid, a lot of times we don't have flushing toilets. I have a composting toilet. So, does pooping in a bucket gross you out? Well, you might want to get used to it and figure out the best ways to dispose of your waste and deodorize your home. What if you need to see the doctor? Are you willing to go to a doctor that doesn't know you or you don't know? You should always carry your medical records with you if you can, and find out what your health insurance allows before you start out. Will they allow you to get medical care in a different state or county or somewhere that you would end up? Um, what kind of a rig do you really need? Can you live in a car? Can you live in a small trailer? Do you have to have a bigger area? Do you need a Class C or a big Class A? Are you going to pull it or live in it? Is your vehicle roadworthy? How are your tires? Tires are probably one of the most important things on a rig because when you're traveling, you're going to go across all kinds of terrain. And so I would recommend all-terrain tires. That's what I have. I spend a little bit more money for them, but definitely worth it. Have you kept up the maintenance on your rig? You need to make sure that all the fluid levels, air pressure, everything's good. You should have had a tune-up or an oil change and things like that before you start out. And have spend a little extra money having a mechanic go through it and see if there's anything you need to take care of right away. What will you do if you break down on the road? Do you have a road service like a AAA or something? And because if you break down, if you're going to have to either have your vehicle towed or have a mechanic come out to you, that's going to get very, very expensive. So I have AAA, and I have a 200-mile road service towing because I'm almost always at least 100 miles from my destination. Also, you should always have some kind of an emergency fund in case you break down or need something that you didn't expect. Are you afraid of animals or predators or being alone? Do you know how to protect yourself? Do you have lined up kind of a safety plan of what will you do if a wild animal approaches or a two-legged predator? Do you have an escape route? When you park your vehicles, you should always plan on having an escape route. No matter where you camp, you need to be able to set yourself up in a way that you can get out there quickly if you need to, especially if you're camping alone. So what about maybe a self-defense course? That's a good idea. If you don't want to carry a gun, what about an air rifle or some, I don't know, different things like that, or some bear spray, something. Um, can you lift 30 to 40 pounds? Water jugs weigh 8 pounds to a gallon. Propane bottles usually at least 20 pounds for a 5-gallon propane tank. And generators range from 30 to 50 pounds and even more. Do you know how to use simple tools such as a hammer, a wrench, pliers, screwdrivers? You quite often would have to fix little things like maybe a screw came loose or something in your vehicle. So it's a good idea to have a little tool block, even if you're not very knowledgeable. Just to have a little toolbox with a few tools in it in case of an emergency repair. Are you prepared to have to take usually at least twice as long to do everything you would normally do on a routine day in your home? Can you eat dehydrated or canned or packaged foods when fresh food is hard to get? Because on the road, you're not going to have the same access to the stores that you had in town. So sometimes you're going to have to store your food for longer, and sometimes you're going to have not be able to get like fresh produce or fresh meat. Do bugs or critters drive you crazy? In the desert, we have scorpions and snakes in the summer. We have a lot of flying bugs throughout the year. They drive me crazy. I bought an electric fly swatter, battery operated. I haven't used it yet. I just got it. So I'm going to try that out. You should do research. You should go on YouTube or Google and do research about how people live on the road, how they travel, the things they do to be ready for any emergency. You're not going to be ready for any emergency, but I do want to say that you should do a lot of research and be prepared. I hope this short video has helped you to think about some of the things you need to do to be prepared to travel on the road. And I'm going to put out another video about some of the things you should have that at least I think are important to have if you're going to live in an RV or a van or on the road. So my next video, hopefully, maybe not the next one, but another video, will share about a lot of things I think are necessary to have as you're traveling and living in an RV or a van. So also I'm going to do another video. I'm going to show you how to set up a little space and set up as though you were living in an RV or a van. I'm going to show you make suggestions on how you can find out if you're ready. And so that'll probably be a little longer video, but it will definitely be worth watching. So I hope that you enjoyed this little short video of whether you are prepared. And I hope you'll like and share it. I'm gonna have another video in a few days because I took a nice trip yesterday. I'm gonna share my trip with you.